What did you have for breakfast?
Today I had a protein bar for breakfast. I didn't have a proper breakfast today.
Okay, would you say that's like the success template for the day? Get a good protein bar in, or is that just a last minute?
No, I think that's lack of planning today. Breakfast for me normally is either missing breakfast. I do a lot of intermittent fasting, or if I do have breakfast, it's granola with Greek yogurt. It's my
Yes.
go-to breakfast.
Yeah, I was in a rush today. I had one spoon of yogurt and then I was out the door. What's one belief you've hypnotized yourself out of forever?
Up until about 27, 28, I had a very deep belief of not being worthy, not being good enough. It had a silver lining because it meant that I had this insatiable desire to improve myself, to get better. But it did feel like I was living in a mirage. Wherever I got close to my goal, the goal got further away. And I remember really struggling with myself because I knew I wanted to make that change, but there was a fear of, is my hunger to improve and learn going to go away at that particular point? I did the hypnosis on myself anyway. I don't have that belief. I changed the belief to, I'm 100% worthy. I actually like who I am. I am good enough. And I was still as hungry and driven as I was before, but the motive changed. And that was to evolve and to learn rather than to be good enough. Luckily, it didn't take that hunger away, but the energy attached to it definitely shifted.
Where is the weirdest place you've ever had to do a hypnotherapy session?
Oh, that's a great question. There was a scary moment literally a week ago where I found this amazing kind of like outcrop in the sea. And it's like, this would be perfect to do a hypnotherapy video. And as I'm walking through this little trail, I was wearing shorts, my legs got swarmed with mosquitoes. It was like a scene from a horror movie. I just had black mosquitoes all the way up my legs.
Oh no.
So I just was running away from that. But yeah, out in nature, I'd probably say most hypnotherapists don't do hypnosis outside, let alone in beautiful backdrops. Going to all the conferences and speaking at the conferences, they encourage even hypnotherapists to go out and do street hypnosis. So I've hypnotized some people on Fremont Street, the old Vegas and that kind of stuff, where you get them doing, arm catalepsy and your foot stuck on the floor and this kind of stuff. I'm not a stage hypnotist. I'm not a street hypnotist. I'm a hypnotherapist. So I think I would say more recently I've taken to recording hypnotherapy videos out in nature. I did a hypnotherapy session while perched on this kind of incredible landscape, just speaking into a microphone. So, and just come back from Brazil, done it on these incredible beaches.
If you could hypnotize the whole world to believe something, what would it be?
I think one of the most empowering beliefs that I have that I think everyone would benefit from is the belief that in life you either win or you learn.
I love that.
And I think a lot of people are holding back from pursuing their dreams, applying for things, starting things, because what if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if I'm not good enough? What if people will laugh? And if you hold the belief that in everything that you do, you either win or you learn,
Yeah.
then actually it frees you from the element of what if I fail to, in hypnosis, we've got this term called a double bind. A double bind means that whatever happens, it's going in a positive direction. So win or learn is a double bind, because as long as you do the thing, you either get the result that you're looking for, or you get the learning to improve the probability that the next time you do the thing is going to be enhanced by having that. And I think everyone would benefit from holding that belief system.
Number 6, what's the biggest lie you've ever heard about success?
Oh, that's a good one. Because when you say lie, truth is subjective. What we're talking about is belief systems. I think there is this element of positive psychology that if you just keep working hard enough, or you're just passionate enough about it, then you will be successful. And I don't think that's true. I think it's a very empowering, positive thing to believe, but that doesn't mean it's true. And I make a distinction between utility and truth. I couldn't care less if a belief is true or not. I care if it's useful or not. So I don't believe that if you simply work hard, you'll be successful. There's lots of hardworking people that aren't successful, and there's lots of passionate artists that aren't successful. So, but I still would prefer a world in which people are hardworking and passionate. So I think it's a useful belief, but I don't think it's true when it comes to success.
Number 7, if your mindset had a theme and that theme was a song, what would it be?
These are really good questions that if I had some advance notice, I think I would have prepared them a lot.
We'll make it look like the answer's rapid fire.
The song that's popping up in my head is Lose Yourself by Eminem, which
Oh my God, I love that
I
song.
don't know why that's popping
Eminem,
up in my
please
head.
come on my podcast.
But my intuition is saying it's something like that, because I think the essence of that is it could all go wrong, but one, do the thing, don't give up, and more importantly, I think life gives you clues as to the thing that you're meant to be doing, and that's what I got from that song, is kind of like that thing that is your thing. Do that thing. Don't do what your parents are telling you to do. Don't do the thing that society and culture is saying you should do. Don't do it for money. Don't do it for status. Find that thing that is your thing, and lose yourself in that. So, I don't know where that came from, but it's something like that.
What is the one thing you do daily that keeps you in the zone as a hypnotherapist in your PR agency in life? What's that thing?
When I was struggling in my kind of late teens, early 20s, one of the most difficult pills that I had to swallow is this idea of personal responsibility, that the world isn't going to fix this for you. You can't wait for someone else to come along and solve your problems. So I think at some level I have a high level of personal responsibility. If things go well, I'll claim that as a victory, and if things don't, then it's still my responsibility to learn from that. So that kind of thread is probably personal responsibility. So if it's going to be, it's up to me, is the kind of the thing. There are things that I like to do. Every time I'm working with a client doing hypnotherapy, I'm also benefiting myself. So I also get value from that. I also love going to the gym and working out. And I think that is a form of mindfulness. It's a form of kind of getting me in a particular zone. And I like being creative. So whenever I'm creative, I think that is a form of building new neural pathways that open up doors of opportunities. So there are certain things that I do, but I'm not a big fan of kind of routines and regimes and that kind of stuff. There's things that I do consistently every day. I publish a podcast episode, but that isn't because I'm saying, oh, I have to do that. It's just I love doing it, and then that's the side effect of me doing that thing that I love doing.
How many podcast episodes have you
I've published more than
published?
2,000.
Wow. And you have over 10 million downloads, but do you know what that number is?
11.5 million downloads for my hypnosis podcast called The
That's
Hypnotist.
incredible.
Yeah.
You must be the number one trending hypnotherapist in the world.
There's one hypnotherapist. He's an English British hypnotherapist, lives out in Beverly Hills. He's currently got 19 million, but I'm growing faster than he is. So I don't know how long it's going to be until I overtake him. I just know that I will.
I've never heard of anyone else.
Good.
Question number 9. What would younger Adam never believe about your life now?
Everything. Like if I had a time machine and I could go back to that anxious, shy, introverted teenager and just say half of the things that I've accomplished or do, or they'd say I'm a bullshitter. They wouldn't believe any of it. And I think I like that I've exceeded the expectations of my younger self. That's what growth is.
Yeah.
That's what improvement is. So my younger, because I had such low confidence, I didn't have very much belief in my abilities. I had a desire to learn and acquire competency and knowledge, but the belief that I would be able to, be financially free quite young, have several businesses, have lots of properties, spend a lot of time traveling, have a stunning girlfriend, like that version of me would not have believed any of that at all. And I like that.
So if you were in a room with 10 of those kids, like that person in your head who you were as a teenager, what would you say to them now? What advice would you give them? You have 10 atoms of varying types in a room, and they're all in that spot as a teenager looking ahead in their future.
There's a weird paradox here, because at that point in my life, if some person said, "Oh, you can do it," I think it could have even had the opposite effect and say, "Yeah, good for you to say, but I'm in a different place." I think at that point in my life, I would have rejected it. I would I would encourage them not to listen to anyone, but to discover it for themselves. When you discover it for yourself, it takes on a whole different connotation than if some person that's financially successful or good in relationships or good in anything else is kind of preaching at you. Like any teenager will be like, "Yeah, bullshit." They're not going to buy it. But if you can lay the breadcrumbs for them to kind of discover it for themselves, that actually that thing they didn't think they could do, they can do. And if they can do that, what else can they do? That's going to be way more profound and way more impactful, because then it isn't an older generation preaching at a younger generation. It's giving, I would say encouragement works much better than advice. You
Mm,
give people advice, people don't take it. You
mm.
encourage people to figure out, to take risks, to pursue things that are important to them. They're going to get a few wins. And when they do, that's going to give them the real belief system to attempt more things. The reason why the younger version of me wouldn't believe what I've accomplished is because that version of me was at a different place. And then it's kind of like, well, you're seeing lots of progress, but that progress took place day after day, week after week. It compounds over time. So it isn't achievable if you just, that's why before and after pictures are kind of misleading, because it doesn't show what it takes to actually kind of get to
Journey.
that place. So, people can change their body shape, but not overnight. People can change their confidence, not overnight. Like it's a journey, and I would encourage people to pursue the journey rather than, because there's too many people out there, oh, follow this advice. Advice is easy. Advice isn't high value. Advice is low value, but actually creating a desire to find personal breakthroughs, the breakthrough for that individual can be invaluable.
Mm.
And I had a fear of public speaking. I was invited to talk at an award ceremony, and in that moment, I said yes without any ability to know that I could do that. And when I did that, 500 people at the Savoy, and I'm kind of doing that, I created a new belief system about myself in that moment. But if someone gave me the advice of, wow, you can speak to lots of people, I'm like, no, I don't think I can. I had to discover it for myself. I was filled with self-doubt, filled with um, anxiety. And I think a great belief system is that anxiety is okay. In fact, anxiety is essential for survival. If everyone's anxiety goes away, we're all dead within a week because we don't mitigate risk. You know, that it's the element of it's okay to feel the anxiety and lean into it. It's not going to define you. And if you feel the anxiety and do the thing and you break through it, well, then what caused anxiety before isn't going to cause anxiety in the future to the same level. And that's how you become very, very confident, is not by an absence of anxiety, it's by feeling the anxiety and then working through it.
Question number 10. You've been successful in many different areas of your life. So you started a PR agency on your own and you built it up to be a very successful business. You are a world famous hypnotherapist who travels all around the world talking to other hypnotherapists and changing lives for people. You are an investor in property and you're an all around pretty successful guy. What's next? Like, what's your next big dream, or what's your current big dream that you're like, yeah, I'd like to achieve this too?
Yeah. So I think there's two parts to that. Success is entirely subjective. Success from my 15-year-old self, I look incredibly successful. But there are loads of people exactly my age that I would consider infinitely more successful than I am. It's all on a spectrum. So this idea of you've made it, nobody's made it. They're just on their journey, and it's all comparative. And I think comparatively, I'm more successful than I was. And I think for me, the way I become more successful is knowing what I want, having clarity, setting goals, finding the resources to pursue those goals, the win or the learn element, try stuff, particularly stuff I can't do. I only learned how to video edit literally 3 weeks ago. I'm getting pretty good at that because I'm trying. All of this stuff is kind of like, it is good. I'm fairly successful as an audio podcaster. I'm not doing well on YouTube. That's my next goal. I want to be as successful on YouTube as I am on Spotify. And I'm sure it will be something else in the future. And I think people that say they're bored, people that say they're jaded, they just don't have enough exciting goals. Like, set some goals, pursue them, know that you're going to fail, but that you're going to become wiser from that failure, and just pursue it.
Thank you. So that is the 10 question wrap with Adam Cox.